You're welcome to Joydollar Fashion Guide. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to make a 6-piece skirt with rope. We are going to be using this Akara fabric. I have a detailed video on how to calculate 6-piece skirt and how to cut 6-piece skirt. In these tutorials, we are going to be making use of rope. This is how the 6 pieces will look like. I've already done my calculation. I'm going to be using a width of 15 inches. On fold, that is 7.5 inches. The hip of this customer is 50 inches. The knee is 45 or 46, but I'll subtract 3 inches from this 50. And then the waist to hip is 9 inches. The waist to the knee is 23 inches. We'll be going up with 2 inches. We'll be making use of 21. And then the skirt length is 42 inches. We'll be leaving 2 inches on top to fold to make a space for the rope, and then we use the remaining one to fold the down of the skirt. This fabric is by 45 and the yardage is 35 inches. It's not up to 36. So I'm going to be using a total of 90 inches in length, which is 2 yards plus 20 inches. Okay, so that 90, if I divide it by 6, I'm going to have 15. So each panel will be 15 inches. So we'll have 3 panels in front and 3 panels at the back. Now for this, our hip is 50 inches. 50 divided by 6 is 8.3. So I'm going to put the fabric on fold. I'm going to make this up to 8.5, and then I'll put the fabric on fold. By the time I divide 8.5 by 2, I'm going to have 4.25. And then I'm going to add seam allowance. If I add a 0.5 seam allowance to that, I'm going to have 4.75. But I'm going to go ahead and round it up to 5 inches. So because it is a rope skirt, I'm going to use the hip measurement on the waistline. The rope will help me to give it the shape. So I'll use the 5 inches on the waist, and I'll also use it on the hip. I also use the 5 inches on the hip. And then for the knee, since the hip is 50, I've subtracted 3 from that. I've gotten 47. 47 divided by 6 is 7.8. And then on fold, we divide 7.8 by 2. I'm going to have 3.9. And then I'm going to be adding a 0.5 inches seam allowance, which will give us 4.4. So I've gone ahead to round it up to 4.5. So on fold, I'll be marking 4.5 on the knee. I'll mark 5 inches on at the hip and 5 inches at the waist. And then I'll now connect with a straight line to the hem. The wideness of the hem is 7.5 on fold. So when you open that up, it will give you 15 inches. So let's go to the cutting table and cut it out. So we have our fabric folded. Here is the length. So these 2 inches is for the folding. These 2 inches, we are going to fold it like this and put the rope. So after marking the 2 inches, from there you mark waist to knee. Sorry, waist to hip, then waist to knee. Then we have the length of the dress of the skirt. So from our calculation on the waist, we are using 5 inches. I'll extend it up, and then at the hip we are also using 5 inches. At the knee we are using 4.5. So we're going to connect with the ruler. We connect the waist to the hip. This waist to the hip, and then the hip to the knee. This is hip to knee, and then from this knee we connect from the knee we connect straight to the hand. So we are going to cut it out. So this is what we have. You open it up to be like this. So we are going to use this to cut 5 more. We are going to use the same measurement for all the panels because we are using rope for the waist. So we place the first one on the fabric like this, and then we cut it out. We have 2, we repeat same for all the panels. So our panels are complete. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So we are going to be joining them now. Joining 3, 3. Join them right side to right side. Right side together like this. This is the right side to right side. From the side, pin it. Pin it straight to the heel. So after pinning 2 together like this, you have the toe length. Right side, mash it together like this. We are going to be sewing it 1/2 inch seam allowance, sewing allowance. So either one can serve as the back or the front, but they are the same measurements. We're going to be adding rope to the wrists. should also pin the other one like that. So this is what we have for the three that we've already pinned. See it. So we'll repeat same for the other side. After pinning like this, you're going to sew. Sew from one end to the end, from beginning to the end. You sew from the top to the end. You repeat same for the other side. We're going to be putting a lining inside, so when we finish sewing both of them, I'll show you how to cut the lining. Finish joining them together. This is what we have after joining. This is the second one. So what we are going to do next is to press the seam open. We are going to be ironing it. So you open it like this and iron it. I iron all of them like that. So finish ironing. After ironing, you place the two together and pin it. So I'm going to spread it here on this floor and retake the shape again. So we are going to reshape the side. Don't forget the hip is 50. We are also making the waist 50 because we are going to be using rope. So the waist is 50, the hip is 50, and then the knee is 46. So when we divide 50 by 2, because this is into 2, we are going to be having 25. And then we need seam allowance to sew it by the side. We are going to be leaving a 1.5 inch seam allowance on both sides, making 28. So let's see what we have. So here we have 30.5. So that means we are going to be trimming out some parts. So first of all, let's mark the 25 that we need. Mark the 25 like this. Check what is left. Divide what is left into 2. So here is our 25. Okay, and then from there we mark 1.5, and then from here 1.5. So this is what you are going to be trimming off. Small. So it's better to have excess than you have shortage. So we are trimming out 1 inch on both sides. So on the hip, subtract the 1 inch. This is the hip. Remember, we left these 2 inches. They are going to be folding for the rope. Then from there to the hip is 9 inches. Okay. So I also subtract the 1 inch from here. So let's see what is left. Okay, then I'll mark 1.5 again, which is the seam allowance. So what is left should be 25. So this is our 25. Then we also go to the knee. The knee is supposed to be 46. From the waist to the knee. So this is the knee here. I've marked it here and here. The knee is 46. 46 divided by 2 is 23. So we are going to subtract 23 and see what is left on both sides. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So here is 23. Let's see what is left. Fold it into 2. So we still have the same 1 inch. So from here to here is our 23. Okay, so we are going to use our long ruler to connect what we have. First from the hip to the knee. That's hip to the knee. Then we'll mark the waist to the hip. And then from this knee, we take it to the hem part. From this knee, we take it straight to this side. So you make sure you blend this curve out. Okay. Then we are going to retrim this side. We are going to retrim it to shaping the skirt. So what I've done, I'll repeat it on the other side. Joining the waist to the hip. Waist to hip. And then hip to knee. Hip to knee. Then from this knee, we'll connect straight to the hem. Then you also blend here out. Okay, so that is, and then we reshape. I'll just repin this along where we are going to sew, so I can trim out the excess. Same for the other side. So we have reshaped the skirt. So we are going to sew now, joining both sides together. Then I'm going to show you how to cut the lining that we're going to use to turn the top. So to cut the lining, we are going to fold the lining like this in a triangular form. The waist is 50. We are going to be cutting the lining in twice. 50 divided by 2 is 25, and then when you further divide 25, you have 12 and a half. So just look for where you have 12 and a half. So this is where we have the 12 and a half. You can make it to pass there a little. It's not going to be straight, so you look for where you can get a curve. Okay. So we are going to mark the length. We are not going to be cutting this straight. We are going to cut it in a curving manner like this. Okay, this is how we are going to cut it. Hope you can see it. This is how we are going to cut it. Can you see the mark here? We'll cut it like this, and then we'll determine the length. It will be around the knee area. So we can just mark 21. So this is 20 and a half, it's just okay. So let's just mark the rest to be the same. So we cut it out. So this is the lining. So let's measure what we have. So it will be enough. So we use this to cut another one, so that we'll join it side by side. So this is the lining. We'll join the side here and this side. Okay, then I'll show you how to place it on the skirt to turn the skirt. And one more thing, you can reduce the down part, reduce the wideness of the down part, so that the surplus inside will not be too much. So this is what we have after reducing it. So now we join it at the side. So we have joined the side. So what you do is to cross check your measurement to be sure that you have the correct measurement. You check the waist, the hip, and then the knee. Okay, you cross check it. Then when you are through, you're going to iron the side. You press the seam open. You press the seam open on both sides. This is the lining. We do same for the lining. You press the seam open at the side. Then when you are through, I'll show you how to turn it. So finish ironing. This is what we have. I've also ironed the lining. So we are going to use the lining to turn the main fabric now. So what I'm going to do is to bring it inside out. So we'll put the lining inside, right side facing the right side of the main fabric, right side facing each other, and then I'm going to sew this top. I'm going to sew it round. I'm going to be sewing it around 0.25. Okay, so when I'm through, I'll show you what it looks like. So finish sewing it round. I'm going to flip it like this. So this is how it will look like on the inside. I think I should top stitch it. Sorry, under stitch it. And this is how it will look like on the outside. So I'm going to understitch it, after which we are going to fold where we are going to the rope casing. I'm going to fold it down like this with the allowance that we have given and sew it round, leaving an opening at the front side where the rope is going to pass through. The skirt is beautiful. So I finished understitching. So you iron it down, press it down with the iron. So the next thing, now just use your iron to fold where you're going to pass the rope casing. Fold it down with about 1 inch. Just iron it round like that. So after sewing, you'll be able to pass the rope through. So this way we are going to sew inside. We'll end here, we'll start here, we'll leave this space to pass the rope through. So we are going to sew down from here. Just sew inside down like that till we get to the other side. So you can pin it down with your pins. So after this, we check the length of our skirt, and then we are going to fold the down. We are going to fold the down with 1 inch, and then we are through with the skirt. I'll show you the final look on the man. So here's our 6 pieces skirt for a plus size with rope. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and leave comments below. If there is anything you want us to make, just suggest it in the comment section below and we will consider it. This is Joy Dala Fashion Guide.